This is Chapter 0 Review, Part 3. The percent proportion. Express each percent as a fraction or a mixed number. Percent means per 100. Percent per stands for a fraction. So 79% means 79 per 100 or 79 over 100. Then it says as a fraction or a mixed number. This is not an improper fraction, so we would not turn into a mixed number. You would try to reduce, but there is not a common factor that goes into 79 that also goes into 100, so you are finished. Example B, 107%. That is 107 per 100. Now this is an improper fraction, so we need to turn that into a mixed number. To turn into a mixed number, you divide the bottom number into the top number. It goes into it 100 times with 7 left over. So 1 is the whole number. Your leftover is the numerator. Your divisor is your denominator, which is also the same thing. It was your denominator in the beginning. Example C, 0.5%. Well, first, the percent is per 100, so that's 0.5 over 100. Now, you can never leave a decimal in the fraction. So we have to move the decimal over one place to the end. If you're going to do that in the top, you have to do that in the bottom. So we move the decimals here, so we have to move it 1, so we have to add a 0. So it is 5 over 1,000. Now we can reduce that. 5 goes into 1,000 200 times. So we're going to divide top and bottom by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. %40 of 30 is what number? I like to use the formula percent over 100 is equal to is over of. What number goes that's right next to the is goes and you replace that with the is and put it in the numerator. The word that goes with of gets put in the denominator. 40%, so we know that that is the percent, and percent means per 100, so we're going to replace the percent with 40 over 100. We would not put the percent sign down because that would be the 100 takes care of the percent. Is equal to is what number? We don't know what the is, so we are going to replace that with an x. Of 30. 30 goes with of, so we put the 30 in the bottom. This is a proportion that we are going to solve. To solve a proportion, you cross multiply. It doesn't matter which one you go, left to right or right to left. It does not matter. I always like my variable on the left, so I'm going to multiply 100 times x, and I get 100x is equal to 40 times 30. If you need to go to the side and multiply 40 times 30, and you get 1,200. Now we are having to solve for x, so we're going to divide by 100. The shortcut for dividing by 100, if you have a 0 up top and a 0 on the bottom, they cancel each other out. 12 over 1, which we could just say 12. So that is what x is. Example 14. Kelsey took a survey of students in her lunch period. 42 out of the 70 students Kelsey surveyed said their family had a pet. What percent of the students had pets? I like to use the formula. It's very similar to percent over 100 is equal to is over of, but instead of is over of, we are going to use the percent over 100 is equal to part over whole. So let's go back and read this and fill in what we know. Kelsey took a survey of students in her lunch period. 42 out of the 70 students Kelsey surveyed said their family had a pet. What percent of the students had pets? So we don't know the percent, so we're going to replace the percent sign with the X. Do we know the part? 42 out of the 70. So here it's clearly obvious that 42 is the part and 70 is the whole. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to cross multiply. Again, it really doesn't matter which one you put first. I always like my variable on the left side. So I'm going to multiply x times 70 and get 70x is equal to 100 times 42. The shortcut for multiplying by powers of 10, you add the number of zeros. 100 has 2 zeros, so I'm going to add the 2 zeros behind the 42. Divide by 70 on both sides. I'm going to cancel this 0. Now, and I can do mental math here. How many times does 7 go into 42? 6, and there's a 0, so it is 60. If you need to do the long division, you can. And that is 60%. So my answer is 60%. Example 15, Brian answered 36 items correctly on a 40-item test. What percent did he answer correctly? Again, we don't know the percent, so I'm going to put x over 100. What is the part and what is the whole? The whole is the 40-item test. The part was how many he got correctly, which was 36. I'm going to cross multiply. 100 times 36 is 3,600. Divide by 40. Again, this 0 cancels. I'm going to use mental math. 4 goes into 36 9 times with 0. If you need to go to the long and go to the side and do long division, you certainly can do that. Example 16, 67.5 is 75% of what number? Okay, so I'm going to go back and use this formula. Percent over 100 is equal to is over of. We know the percent. It is 75 over 100. The is the 67.5. We don't know the of what number. We don't know the of. I'm going to cross multiply. 75 times x is 75x. Is equal to 100 times 67.5. Now, I have 2 zeros in that 100, so that means I'm going to move my decimal 2 places. If the decimal was at the end, then I would just add the 2 zeros. But the decimal's here, so technically I'm moving it 2 places. Okay, I'm going to divide by 75. Now this number, I have no idea. If you have a calculator, you can go and use your calculator. However, we're not really allowed to use the calculators for the first few months. So I'm going to go this out in long divide. I'm going to try a 9. Oh, and it goes into it evenly. There's 2 zeros left, so it's 900. So x is equal to 900. That is the end of the Chapter 0 review. Here are your assignments. Notice that this is page P10. This is all from Chapter 0.